Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you my NYX Face Awards submission for 2017. So we're just going to hop right in. We're going to start off by painting our whole face white for this insect look. So just take any white cream face paint and just apply that on there. My favorite way to put on face paint lately is just with a really large, super dense foundation brush. It just really gets it on there and gets the job done quickly. And then make sure to set that, since it is a cream paint, you want to make sure that doesn't budge. And going in with the NYX Sweet Cheeks blush palette, I'm just taking this pink shade underneath the eye and kind of up towards the cheek. And then I'm also going to be placing some of that above the brows as well. Well, where my brows would be if I had them. And you totally can block your eyebrows for this look. And then just to contour, I am throwing on some of the darker pink shade from the same palette, just right below my cheekbone, and then I'm just shading up at my hairline temple area as well to add some definition to the face. And then just to break up those pink colors on the forehead, I just threw on some light peach shadow, and I put that on my cheekbone as well. And just make sure the colors all blend together really nicely so it's all nice and soft looking. And then from the same palette, I mixed together the two peachy orangey shades, and I'm just popping that right at the front of my brow area. And then for highlighting, I'm taking the NYX Duochromatic in Snow Rose, and I'm just popping that on all the high points of the face. And then for the inner corners of the eyes, I just place on this bright yellow. And then switching to lips for a second. Sorry you guys, I'm jumping around a little bit here. But for the lips, I just applied a light peach color. And I didn't go all the way to the corners of my lips. I kind of stopped a little bit before that. But I kind of did blend the lip product above the lip line. And throwing some white in the waterline to ensure that our eyes look as big and as buggy as possible. And then for the lid color, I'm just applying a soft orange. And Corey is making an appearance today. And then I chose to go with a cut crease look, again, to make sure our eyes look bigger than normal. So I'm just taking a pink water activated paint, and I'm just running that above where my natural crease is. I'm just doing that with a thin little art brush. And then above that line, I'm just taking a orange shadow, just to add a little bit of depth there right at the corner. And then I'm also adding that a bit at the end as well. And then here is where we're going to start to do our little bug wing design. Since this is an insect look, I thought it'd be cool to kind of paint bug wing looking things. So I'm just taking some white paint, and I'm just going to start to create the shape of a bug wing. I'm just doing that right above the eye. And I'm looking down a lot here because I am looking at a reference photo, which I do suggest doing because it does help quite a bit. So just really take your time with this to make sure the lines are nice and crisp. And then once you have your shape, you can kind of go over that a couple times to make sure the paint is super opaque. And then the next step would be just to create the lines that are inside of insect wings. So I'm kind of going at the top first and then the bottom, and then I'm filling in between. And I made the shapes a little bit smaller as I got towards the end of the wing. And if you get frustrated with the symmetry, just make this face. It helps, I swear. Anyways, here is a really super sped up clip of me doing the next one because I don't want to bore you guys because this did take me a little while. Yeah, just take your time and try and make sure that they are symmetrical as possible with the other side. And then I added 2 more just down underneath the eye. And for a finishing touch around the wings, I'm just adding a couple dots. And then here I'm just doing one of my favorite techniques, a little bit of paint splattering. I'm just doing that with some white because I feel like it just adds a little bit of like a glittery kind of feel. And then for some real glitter, I just threw down some NYX glitter base, and then I'm popping this glitter right on top in a few areas, down underneath the eye, and then a little bit on the forehead, and any areas that you see fit. And then also some on the side of the face. Glitter always takes a look to the next level. And then I'm just adding these lines coming down from the eyes. If you guys followed me last year in the Face Awards, you would know that I always did this with my looks. It was kind of my little signature thing. So I thought, why not continue that? And then I added just some basic black liner to the upper lids and mascara, and I'm popping on some fluffy lashes. And then onto the body, so I'm just placing more white paint everywhere. I also did my arms as well, basically any skin that's going to be showing. And then I'm just going to shade my neck in with some eyeshadow. I just did like a peachy pink shade at the top of the neck here, just to tie in the colors that we used on the face. And then blending down, I'm kind of creating a gradient with some pink below that. And then for the finishing touch, of course, we're going to be adding more glitter just onto the chest, but you can basically add as much as you would like. And then here is the makeup look all completed. And for my costume for this look, I chose to go with a flower crown, and then I attached some little bug antenna on top of that with some wire. And for my wings, I just bought fairy wings from my costume shop, and I added some little extra things like some flowers and some lace. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!